welcome to a special streaming Star Wars episode. Nick, how you doing, man? How are things?
Happy Friday, my friend.
Happy Friday. This is a special episode because our guests are going to be our patrons. So if you are a part of the ATG Cast patron program, you got a little alert that said, "Hey, watch the show and be ready because we're going to ask you to join us." And you get a special link, and so hopefully we'll hear from some of our friends. I see one of them already lined up to join us. But
That's right.
Nick, before we get started, let's start the night off right with a little cheers toast.
That's
brother.
Right.
Happy
Toast.
Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy April Fool's Day. My goodness.
April Fool's Day, also known as "Don't trust anyone ever at all today."
Yeah. I saw a couple things today where I was like, oh, that's right. It's April. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, it's
exactly.
April 1st.
Catch yourself, and then real life things happen, like at work, like we talked about offline, and you go, "Oh, what a terrible day for those kinds of things."
This is not the right day for that to happen. Yeah, that's
right.
Pretty bad. So we don't have, it's interesting. There's been, we'll do the news in a couple minutes as we do, but we'll cover a couple different topics. There's a bunch of things going on, but this is, one of the first times we've done this when we haven't had a weekly episode to take a look at, and we just want to hit on the Star Wars news. Streaming Star Wars when it was a year ago when I was doing it. Before I was fortunate enough to be working with you, we used to just sort of cover the news every week, and that's why we want to open it up to our patrons who can join us and give us their opinion. What's top of mind for you, Star Wars wise, right now? When you're thinking Star Wars, what are you looking for? What are you hoping to see? And like what's the thing that you're most focused on?
Well, I think that's I have a two-pronged answer for that.
Sure.
First of all, I do want to call out what Matthew said. Today is social media bullshit day, which is a very accurate description. Shout out to Matthew for that one. Two things for me. I think, of course, the big one that is hard to avoid, certainly within our social media and podcast circles, but also as we're continuing to see announcements and things come out, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, is Celebration.
Yeah.
Which is bittersweet for me because as it stands right now, I am not currently slated to go to Celebration, but I'm holding out hope for a Hail Mary, maybe a last minute, Han Solo style, simple tricks and nonsense miracle. We don't know. Never say never.
Never say never.
But seeing the announcements come out, getting the emails, because I'm on that mailing list as they announce like the panels and the guests, is really exciting. Because it's been, it was canceled and moved, and we weren't sure if it was going to happen. Right. And then even seeing the announcement a couple of days ago that E3 is completely canceled, not just in person, but virtually. I feel really fortunate, even if I don't get to be there, that Celebration appears to be heading on full steam for the chance for certainly all my friends to go. But I mean, I'll be glued to a computer watching anything that they live stream and, checking in with everybody I can to kind of live vicariously through it. So it's exciting that it feels like that little part of our world is maybe coming back to life a little bit. Celebration is back. So I'm very thrilled about that. And I love just seeing, what's going to be next. The other thing that it's kind of hard to avoid is the Kenobi stuff. We got an announcement this week about Kenobi, which we'll also talk about. But the hype is building and I'm getting more and more excited. And I'm just, the countdown to the number of, I think 55 days.
Yeah.
Or maybe 57 because I think it's 55
right now they moved it back too. So
we got pushed back, but it's hard to not be excited about those two things. But the other thing beyond that, and I said two, and now I'm going to the third, is what else is coming, because we know that Bad Batch is on deck. We know that we've gotten confirmation that Mandalorian season 3 is wrapping filming. So are we going to get that before this calendar year? We say it every week, especially on streaming Star Wars.
Right.
It's the golden age of Star Wars and Star Wars content. There's books coming out. I haven't read a Star Wars book in a minute, but I'm going to read the next couple that come out. I'm really excited about those.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
what about you? Same question.
Yeah. I mean, I would say kind of the same thing. It's interesting. Celebration is definitely on the horizon. And as you know, I feel bad saying it to you, but I'm headed there. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And because I imagine we're going to get some of those, all the news that we've been waiting for. I think we're going to get a bunch of it there. Of course, I'm waiting for Kenobi, and I think that's going to be great. But tonight, for some reason, I started watching some of the old Rebels episodes, and I'm kind of excited for Bad Batch 2 more than I thought I was. Just kind of, I miss that kind of animation, that the stories there. it's a completely different feel, obviously, than the live action stuff. But I'm kind of excited for Bad Batch 2 to come. So that's kind of
Yes,
where my brain is
definitely.
right now. So well, hey, why don't we hit the news and then we can start talking to some of our friends who are patrons. And maybe before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about our Patreon program. If you're watching
Yeah.
tonight and you're not a patron, for as little as $3 a month, you can join our Patreon family. And what you get for that is you're going to get for the entry level tier, you're going to get access to all of our shows when we record Podcast the Wills, when we record Around the Galaxy. If you can make it, great. And that also gives you that opportunity to comment in the chat. Sometimes, as if you listen to the show, you hear that we pull those questions because they're usually so on topic and so great to work with. You'll also get some swag. There's different levels. At our top tiers, when we have celebrity guests, sometimes we're able to get meet and greets for some of our top tier patrons. So that's something to think about. So if you just head to atgcast.com/Patreon, holy cow, Raven is in the house. That's
right.
amazing. See, I've lost. I'm all flustered.
Sorry.
Patreon.com/ATGcast.
She has that effect on
She
people.
does have that effect. It's wild. But yeah, that's stuff. So why don't we just do the news and we'll go from there. And then I think we'll give our patrons the first access, and then depending on how the show's going, maybe we'll open it up to whoever's hanging out with us in the chat. So, well, why don't we hit that news and see how we do? Well, a delay in the Kenobi series, Darth Vader makes his return, and The Mandalorian wraps on season 3. Give us 5 minutes, and we'll give you the galaxy. Another week, another flood of news, rumors, clickbait, and conversation. This is Pete Fletzer, and welcome to Disturbances in the Force. All the links to the original sources can be found in the notes, and I urge you to check them out. So let's get to it. In a surprise announcement via video on Disney Plus social media, Ewan McGregor told the world that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series release date has been pushed back by 2 days. Originally scheduled to drop on May 25th, which is also the 45th anniversary of the release of the original Star Wars movie in 1977, the show will now debut on Friday, May 27th. In addition to the change of launch date, they also announced that they're going to drop 2 episodes together on that day. Of note is that is also day 2 of Star Wars Celebration being held in Anaheim, California from May 26th through May 29th. In a related story, Hayden Christensen talked to Entertainment Weekly about returning to his role as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader for the upcoming Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi series. When asked about donning the Black Sith Lord armor once again, the Canadian actor said, quote, "Well, without getting into too much detail, it was amazing. It's a great honor to put the suit on. It's been more than 17 years since Christensen has been part of Star Wars, and when asked about that, he said, quote, the whole experience was very surreal. It's such a unique opportunity, one that both Ewan and I are grateful for." The Entertainment Weekly issue featuring Ewan McGregor on the cover as Obi-Wan Kenobi is available on newsstands now. Members of the crew and Grief Karga himself, Carl Weathers, have confirmed that shooting for Mandalorian Season 3 is complete. An image was shared by someone in the costume department, initially breaking the news, and then Weathers commented on a since-deleted post, quote, "And what a season of wonderfulness." In addition, in an Instagram post dropped on Friday, actress and past Around the Galaxy guest Misty Rosas shared a photo of herself on a plane wearing a t-shirt with the words Mandalorian Season 3 on it. This is the first affirmation that we have that Rosas is returning to the series. In Season 1, Misty played the Ugnaught advisor Kuil, famous for the quote, "I have spoken," and in Season 2, she was the actress inside the Frog Lady costume. There's no release date yet for Mandalorian Season 3, but the buzz seems to point to holiday season this year. Star Wars Celebration is happening at the end of next month, and details are starting to emerge on the official social media outlets. This week, a slate of guests was announced that includes actors, authors, and creators. Last week, it was revealed that C-3PO himself, Anthony Daniels, would be on hand, along with Ian McDiarmid, aka Emperor Palpatine, and Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and Rebels. This week, additional actors were named, including Jonas Suotamo, I always screw up his name, who played Chewbacca in Solo and the sequel trilogy, Daniel Logan, who played young Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones and was seen in the Book of Boba Fett, and Omid Abtahi, who played Dr. Pershing in The Mandalorian. Also listed were 5 Star Wars High Republic authors, including Claudia Gray, Charles Soule, Daniel Jose Older, Cavan Scott, and Justina Ireland. More guests are expected to be announced in the coming weeks, as well as details on panels and special events. Star Wars Celebration 2022 kicks off on May 26th in Anaheim, California. Earlier this week, the first excerpt from the highly anticipated novel Brotherhood by friend of ATG cast Mike Chen dropped on StarWars.com. Preview copies were also issued to select reviewers, so promotion is in full swing. The short segment of the story shares a first meeting between Obi-Wan and a classic Clone Wars dark side user. You can find the excerpt on StarWars.com now and pre-order the book, which drops on May 10th in the links below. This week, the week before that, a sample from Shadows of the Sith by Adam Christopher, another Around the Galaxy guest, was posted to StarWars.com along with brand new cover art. The passage features Luke Skywalker in the same location where Grogu connected with the Force in the Mandalorian episode The Tragedy and makes a surprise connection to a fan favorite character. Shadows of the Sith is available on June 28th and is available for pre-order now. Well, the Oscars were held last week, and the Best Supporting Actor award was given to someone named Troy Kotsur. He was the first male deaf actor to win the award, and there's also a Star Wars connection. Kotsur played one of the Tusken Raiders in Chapter 5 of The Mandalorian and is credited as the creator of the Tusken Sign Language. Well, that wraps it up for this week's Disturbances in the Force. Make sure to check out the ATG Cast podcast stream for your weekly one-on-one interviews with the people behind the fandom. This week, we have 2 episodes of Around the Galaxy. On Monday, we speak to author Marshall Julius and creature effect legend Howard Berger. And on Thursday, we welcome impressionist and comedian Michael Messer. Please subscribe for regular updates. Follow us on all your social media channels at ATGcast and visit our website at atgcast.com to keep up with us, find our merch, and get information about supporting the show as an ATG patron. Thank you so much for listening, and may the Force be with you. Well, that was more news than I thought it would be. You know, it's become a running joke. It's not even funny anymore. But every week, it's like, oh, there's more news than we thought there was. That's
right.
Why we're here, man. That's why we.
Well,
have
and you
streaming Star
did.
Wars.
And the thing is, you took a week off. Like, I don't think you did one last week.
Right.
And it's not even like you used old news. Like, this was just news from this week. So.
You know, I was like, this is great. I have 2 weeks worth of news I can put. No,
no,
I didn't go
this
back
week, but
further than I needed.
I feel with all the things we're talking about, Kenobi, Celebration, upcoming projects, we're moving into what is probably going to be a very sweet and busy news season for you, our resident newsman. So
well,
I'm excited about that for you, and I'm excited for all the texts that I'm going to get when you say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about this week, or more accurately, when I text you something I think is a news story and you go, yeah, I already got that.
Well, no, I don't always say that. Sometimes I'm like, cool, give me the link. But yeah, no, it is great. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. And that's why we do Podcast the Wills and Around the Galaxy and streaming Star Wars and Disturbances in the Force. And we have so much fun doing this every single week. And we have possibly the greatest group of committed followers who are part of our Patreon program. And tonight, instead of us just talking about the news, because there was a lot of news that we did just talk about, we want to have the opportunity to talk to some of our patrons. So we have a couple lined up, and after we go through the patrons, if you're hanging out with us, please stick with us, because we will probably put the link up and give you the opportunity to step in. But should we start with JD?
Let's do it. Let's get JD in here.
Here we go. JD, here he is, the man of the hour.
What's going on, fellas?
He's looking around for him. He can't find him. And what's going on, JD?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah, hanging in there, man. It's a Friday night. I got a drink in my hand and talking Star Wars with good people. How bad could it be?
Cheers.
Exactly.
Cheers. Here we go.
That's right. Cheers. and I like that JD comes on representing Star Wars Celebration with that 2017 Orlando shirt on.
Yeah. So you've been to...
I kind of had a feeling that was going to be one of the topics tonight, so I was like, I'm going to bring it out for the night.
I'm prepared.
It actually makes me regret that I didn't wear mine, because I have the blue one that had R2 and 3PO on it, the kind of animated drawing whatevers that came with my ticket, and so now I'm just kicking myself for not being as smart as JD.
Well, it's
rubbed it in like Pete did, Nick, but I'm getting a chance to go too, and I didn't think I was going to be able to. So, and actually, Pete was the one that hooked me up. He asked me if I was going, and I said I couldn't because I gave up my tickets without knowing what was going to happen with COVID and things like
Sure.
that. I get tickets foolishly. And hey, Raven, it's a little different on this side instead of on this side. It's a little weird.
Yep.
But yeah, I gave him my tickets because I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how things were going to go. And Pete reached out to me and asked me if I was going. And I said, hey, man, if you know anybody who's getting rid of tickets, man, let me know. I'll pick them up, you know, and by a happy chance, somebody needed to let loose of them. So now I get to go. So.
See, that's a patron exclusive opportunity right there.
That's right. This is why it's the best Patreon in the game. There you go.
So what are your thoughts on, you know, I'm going to ask you because we saw some, of course, because social media is dumb. People were complaining about the move of the date for yes, because Twitter likes to be mad. Some people were commenting on the delay of the Kenobi series. I don't have a problem with it. I'm actually excited about it, but I don't want to influence you, JD. What's your thoughts on the change of date and the dropping of 2 episodes?
I'm actually, the first thought that I had when they said that they were going to change it in 2 episodes was, number one, I mean, it's double the goodness. I mean, that's an obvious first part of it. The second part to me was I kind of had the feeling that it might coincide with Celebration, that really they wanted to release it because Celebration was going to be that weekend. And that may have nothing to do with it whatsoever, but I'm thinking it's kind of going to be a move that they did on purpose for Celebration.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, but I'm not terribly upset with it. I mean, I know that May 25th was going to be the anniversary, obviously. The anniversary date for A New Hope, and it was kind of cool and nostalgic that they were going to do that. But I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm going to be at Celebration to be able to watch it. You know, probably with a lot of people that I hang out with here. So I think it's going to be kind of neat.
Cool.
I agree. And I think for me, as of press time, I am not scheduled to go to Celebration. So it feels like a little bit of a salve on my open wound. Like if I don't get to go to Celebration, at least I get the first 2 episodes of Kenobi at one time. But what that's also going to mean is I'm probably going to miss out on like a live screening or something else that's, you know, going to happen cool.
You're going to miss a live Scotty J. Rowe tear fest.
I was going to say Scotty may just actually implode on the spot, and y'all are going to all get live video of him just ascending right there in the moment.
I'm a little excited about being there for that because I've seen like the videos from the detour from the announcement that they did for the shareholders. I saw the links that he did for when Rise of Skywalker came out, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to be in the same room with this guy when he freaks out.
It truly is one of the purest, and I've said this to him before, but like it's pure joy when Scotty has those moments, and it makes me so happy, and it reminds me, even as a cynical old man who has to deal with the real world and the dum-dums on Twitter and everything else, like that's the joy that Star Wars is supposed to be. And I love that he still has that and has the ability to remind people like me who sometimes get too caught up in the nonsense. Oh yeah, this is supposed to be fun. And he's a great example for that. So yeah, anybody, and I think everybody that gets within 2 feet of him is getting as big a hug as they can get away with. So just be prepared.
It'll be interesting to see how the COVID police monitor Scotty, because Scotty's going to be. I mean, I've already told Clayton Sandell I'm there for the hugs, but Scotty's going to be like aggressively looking for the hugs
on the prowl.
I'll for you guys and the guys at Holo Chronicles and a few other people. You guys are the only reason I'm on Twitter anymore because I just can't stomach it anymore. It's just I think it's just a path. Something for people to do that they for some sick fantasy they think it's fun, and I just don't even bother with it. Or I just retweet you guys' stuff. Go, I'm supporting these. I like
it. Well, we definitely appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, any other comments or anything you're super excited about? Like the question that I asked Nick at the top of the show. What's other than Celebration? And you know, I'm gonna take Kenobi off the table. But what's your what are you looking for? Are you a big fan of the novels, or are you is there a particular show or something you're looking into?
I'm to kind of piggyback on Celebration. Not only did I get tickets for Celebration, but I also got tickets to go to Galaxy's Edge for Star Wars night.
Okay, so I'm glad to hear that, JD. Because are you going by yourself, or are you going with others?
No, my girlfriend will be with me.
Okay, and so will I, because I just got a single ticket I literally just before we went on air, I found a friend who had a single ticket, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I hope your girlfriend doesn't mind me hanging out with you because I don't want to go by myself.
No, not more barrier. And it actually, I never actually had a conscious reason to ever want to go to California. But now that I'm going, I'm actually going to get to go to Galaxy's Edge and see Batu in person in California.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a positive. I guess.
That's a huge positive. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested because I don't really know what to anticipate as far as like movies and stuff like that's concerned. I mean, I'm kind of hoping there'll be some stuff from Andor will be there. We'll get to see the Kenobi stuff. I'm really kind of hoping that we get some announcements for things like Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Yep.
And the gaming stuff, because I kind of get into that a little bit. And then I'm really kind of hoping that we see a little bit more information or maybe a little bit of something on Rogue Squadron.
That would be great. I mean, if it really is still moving forward, as we have no reason to think it doesn't. I mean, we have reason to think that it doesn't because we haven't heard anything. But I think that would be awesome to see. So.
Oh, and I was going to tell you too. You were talking about on the news about some of the guests that were going to be there.
Yeah,
I saw on Instagram today, Star Wars Celebration announced that Mark Hamill will be there.
No, really?
Shut up.
Oh,
Standing.
man. Oh, I think Nick just sold a kidney. I think he's...
Turns out things are changing right as we go.
Pete, can you take the show for the next 20 minutes? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go rob a bank. I'm going to the
go fill a bathtub up with ice. I'll be right back.
Nick, just show up there. I'm sure there'll be somebody selling tickets right outside the venue. You'll be able to go.
Well, good. And I think I've said it on this show previously. And I keep saying, maybe a Hail Mary, something will work out. We've just had a bunch of family stuff the last few months, braces, trips, job changes from our, just a lot of life happening, which is totally fine. But I have also said, I don't rule out the possibility of buying a plane ticket, even if I couldn't get into Celebration, to get the chance to see all these friends I've made over the last year and a half, 2 years in the evenings. Like that alone would be worth it. Like Celebration's cool. I've been to one. I'd love to go to one and experience it more than I did one day in Orlando. But like the people is what is the biggest, kind of thing. The FOMO is about the people at this point. Like Celebration's awesome. So again, never say never. We've still got 55 days for, crazy things to happen. So
anything could happen.
You don't know.
Well, cool. Well, JD, we're going to bring in our next guest. JD, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And hey, as you saw, we have some fun guests coming up. And JD is one of those, is our biggest supporter. And JD has been known to join us when we have our occasional celebrity meet and greet. So that's been fun, JD. And thank you so much for all your support.
You, friend.
Here's to JD. Take care.
Cheers, fellas.
All right, we don't have that force connect sort of force push thing. We got to.
That's okay. We're charting our own path, which I think is totally legit.
These are new waters. So hey, and by the way, when you're done here, go back to the YouTube stream and check us out there. Stay with us because we may be doing something a little bit later on in the show you might want to be a part of. So we got another. Is the caller there? We have another one waiting for us in the back. He's a relatively new patron, but a longtime friend of the show. It is Jeff. Jeff, how are you?
What's up, fellas?
What's the word, man? How are you?
Hey, here's to you guys, man.
Oh, man.
That takes some brown liquor. Here's to you guys.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you letting me come on the show and just talk.
Well, man, I'll tell you.
I got something. I brought something for you, Pete.
There you go. Let's go Flyers, baby. There you go. A Lindros jersey,
school,
right?
Man.
There you go, man. Old school.
Now, every version of a Lindros Flyers jersey they ever made is hanging in my closet.
So now, how are you a Flyers fan? You're from you're not from
Philly.
Philly.
See, the beauty about living in Alabama is like a free agent. You can you're not born in anything.
Not a thing here.
Right, and so my dad's whole side of the family lives in Reading, and so right outside Philly. So they're all Philly. They're all flyered up. They're all Flyers, everybody. So about 1995, 96, took a family trip up there. Got to meet them all really for the first time. Got to know them like closely, spend close time with them. And he gave me a Lindros Flyers t-shirt jersey. just gave it to me, and I'm like, hey, I'm in. And he gave me a hat, and I'm like, hey, why not? And then they lost the Panthers in the playoffs that year. And then the next year, we go to the Cup Finals and get swept by the Red Wings. Yeah. I mean,
Oh, I remember that year. Yeah.
Don't need to rehash any of that stuff, but that's kind of how I wound up in Flyers gear, was like that. But, a big Steeler fan in the NFL.
All right.
Flyers fan for hockey, huge diehard Yankee fan.
All right. That's cool. Yeah. Yankees are my American League fan team. Oh, he's got a streaming Star Wars shirt. All right.
Oh, yeah.
The Rancor. He went with the Rancor version.
Oh, yeah. I got R2 and the Rancor. So
that's awesome, man. So you know what I love about this, and we have another our next call is queued up. It's so cool to actually see and hear the voices of the people that we tweet with and email with and DM with. So Jeff, what are you excited about Star Wars right now? What's the thing when people are like, what's next in Star Wars for you? Where are you? What's your mind?
Obviously Kenobi, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm a huge Bad Batch guy. So I got trolled today, Nick. I got April Fooled on the Bad Batch season 2 thing. It looked legit, and I just went berserk and started screenshotting.
It looked totally legit. Whoever did that, kudos to the person who did it. But you know what? They didn't check that the 26th is a Tuesday. If they had done a Friday or a Wednesday, we would have been like, "That's it. That's real."
I felt like, and then Nick was like, I don't think it lines up, but you may want to get your matches ready. Because I was like, if this is an April Fool's joke, I'm burning something to the ground. And he was like, you might want to get your matches ready. I was like, oh man. So sure enough, I got April Fooled. But for that minute, I was real excited about Bad Batch. Well, all of it. Yeah. I'm in the small minority, Pete, of Star Wars fans that actually like Star Wars. like
Buttercream Dream said on Nick's show, right? Yeah.
I mean, I actually enjoy it.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the OG trilogy, wrap that up this week. I do that occasionally. And then the prequels. Everybody rags on the prequels a lot, but I love the prequels because we get Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi for 3 whole movies. He's fantastic in that role. True. And, all the crap that the prequels got, I love them because you get 3 movies of Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan. I mean, I just love it all. I love Star Wars. Hot damn, I love Star Wars.
Well, let's play this game for a minute. Then you talked about Bad Batch and being excited about that, and I am as well. Yes. I really enjoyed, and we've it's been said on my show more times than I can count. Original, the first run of Clone Wars, I kind of grew into it, kind of backdoor, different ways and reasons. The season 7 Clone Wars, like fully in the tank.
Yeah.
And the first 4 episodes that were the Bad Batch part of that, there's 3 sections. You had Bad Batch, you had the Martez sisters, and you had Ahsoka and Maul. I was there for Ahsoka and Maul, but of course I was going to watch the other parts to get there. The Bad Batch stuff didn't do it for me in season 7 of Clone Wars, and the Martez sister stuff didn't do it for me then. But from the opening minutes of the first episode of Bad Batch, I was wholly on board. And I think I even texted Pete that I was like, for somebody who didn't really care that much about this stuff before, like, let's go, I want more. And it just kept getting better. And that was one of the things that I remember about Rebels so much, was that Rebels just kept getting better. So my question to you is, what do you want in Bad Batch season 2? What are you looking for out of that?
Honestly, I'm not one of those that's specifically looking for a character or a storyline or something specific to happen in there. The storytelling was so good in the first season. I just want more of that. I just want more stories to tell and more adventures that go on and more stuff they get into. And if they bring in old characters and some throwback characters, that's fine, but I'm not there to see what character they resurrect or what character they tie into it. I'm there for the show, and the storytelling in that show is so good, and that obviously the animation of it, the computer animation of it, the settings, the scenes of that show are breathtaking. And I mean, I'm on board for all of it, but I love that. I'm with you a lot. I don't really remember much about the Clone Wars Bad Batch episodes. I really kind of pick up at season 1, the pilot of Bad Batch, season 1, episode 1. Boom, because I had to remember, they were introduced in Clone Wars season 7, but I totally kind of forgot about that. It wasn't really captivating until they got their own show. Well,
and it's interesting to go back, because I went back after Bad Batch ended, and I went back and watched the whole season 7 Clone Wars run. One, because I wanted to see, did I remember, and I didn't remember a lot of the stuff from those first 4, but like Anakin's in that when they go to get, what's his name? Not Echo. No.
They went to get, was it
the non 99?
That guy.
Was it 5s? No. Was it 5s? No. 5s. Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
I'm not a names guy. So.
Tech. It was Tech.
Yeah. It was Tech. Yeah. When they rescued Tech, who was hooked up to all the stuff and, and Anakin and that whole whatever. But it did. I enjoyed those episodes differently, and I enjoyed when the Martez sisters showed up.
Echo. Brian tells us it was Echo. Thank you, Brian. You're right.
Echo. Yeah. Sorry. This is why people are smarter than me. Everybody is. But yeah, going back to Clone Wars season 7 and those first 8 episodes, I even appreciated those more because of what I got in Bad Batch. So what about this? Do you think we get a time jump? Do we get an older Omega? Do we get?
Yes. Okay. I think we're going to get an older Omega.
Okay.
I don't know how much older, but yes, I do think she's going to be older.
Yeah.
I don't know if the same girl will be voicing it, but I do think she'll be older.
Well, the woman who voices her is actually like 33 years old or something like that. So, yeah, it's true.
Well, they can do so much with voice synthesis now. So go ahead.
Well, she's no Freddie Prinze Jr. doing a 12-year-old Kanan, but whatever. I think the thing that I'm very intrigued by is the way they wrapped that up, because we had that very intentional arriving at Mount Tantus.
Yes.
What does that mean? Because I know what that means to me as somebody who read the original Thrawn trilogy and what Mount Tantus was. It was still connected to cloning, and you have the officer that shows up that's wearing the uniform like what Dr. Pershing has in The Mandalorian.
Yep.
So again, we're getting the brilliance of that Disney Star Wars storytelling, where we're interweaving these key elements and key parts that are going to ultimately point towards where we are in a current timeline, whatever that looks like. But I really, that feels like there's going to be a lot more to that, in the next part, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. That was one of my Rebels. Rebels was that dude I've said before, but Bad Batch is right there.
It's funny. It's amazing how many. Every single Star Wars project, honestly, since other than the sequel trilogy, from Rogue One to Solo to the Kenobi series to even Mandalorian, honestly, and Bad Batch, every single one of those things. As an old school Star Wars fan, my initial response to every single one of those was, that's cool, but cool.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, I'm like, I had no idea I needed that in my life. That's amazing. That was wonderful. That was perfect.
And I think that's the best.
After every one, you're like, I can't remember my life before.
What happened before that? I don't want
to. Well, and I give Pete credit for this all the time, where he talks about when the announcement was made that there was going to be a Mandalorian TV show.
Yeah.
And your reaction was, I don't really care. I don't know if I need that. I don't necessarily care.
You're like,
by the time that first episode was over, you're like, where has this been my whole life? And give me everything I can get.
Give me everything.
Well, and it goes back to also the other thing. Again, Pete's the wisdom and sage on a lot of these things. It goes back to the brilliance of Filoni first, but certainly Filoni Favreau, giving us things we didn't know we wanted that end up being some of our favorite things, connecting very deeply, but also being the things that aren't what they're titled. Like, Rebels was not necessarily about the rebels. It's a Jedi story. And, the Bad Batch is, not necessarily just a bunch of clones. It's a different story. And the Mandalorian is not just a gunslinger Western fantasy. It becomes everything
much deeper,
connects on a deeper level. So I love that Star Wars still surprises me, I guess is probably what I'm trying to say in that.
Yeah. Good and bad. It's a good and bad surprise.
Because
sometimes.
Honestly, Book of Boba Fett, kind of middle of the road.
Yep.
Not super one way or another.
No, there's a scene in the office. There's a scene in the office, Nick, where Michael leans in and breathes his breath, and he's like, "How's my breath?" And Dwight takes a big whiff, and he's like, "Good, not great." That's kind of what I'm thinking about Boba Fett. It's like, that's good, not great. It didn't blow me away, but I'm glad I watched it, and
I'm glad we got it. Yep, 100%.
Yeah,
well,
Jeff, and I'll watch season 2 if they do a season 2. I'll watch that too.
I would say if you put it on there, I'm going to watch it.
I'm watching
it.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we're going to bring in our next guest. Any last comments or things you want to
I
share?
just wanted to say thanks for having me on, Nick. Good to see the beards back.
That's right. We're overdue for lunch. The funny thing about this the thing for people who watch that don't both live in Montgomery, Alabama, but Jeff and I met because we were extras on the Wonder Years back in October that I've talked about on my show and this stream. But even funnier than that is one of my best friends and bandmates in college was Jeff's best friend growing up. And so like we have these weird circles that connect. And then I drug him into all of this podcast nonsense. And
it's because of the tat, Nick. I saw the tat right here.
He did. He saw
I saw the tat and I was like, hey, sick tat, dude. And then we just started talking. And then here we are.
All over from there. So good to see you, even though we live in the same town.
That's it. Good to see everyone. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much, man. And thanks for being a patron. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
See you, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. Yeah. Again, like I was saying before, one of the super cool things is like I could converse with Jeff in one way or another on Twitter or DM or through Patreon regularly, and now I know who he is, and that's really great. And speaking of which, here's I think one of our newest patrons, and again a guy who has just become a huge supporter of and fun to talk to on Twitter.
So fun to talk
probably
to.
Gets himself probably closer to the fire than he wants to. And let's bring in Brian. Brian, how are you?
How are you guys? First time, long time.
Exactly. True sports talk radio.
There we go. Brian gets it. How's it going, man?
No, I also want to go change my shirt to match Nick. That I just got. This, I received this in the mail today from Scotty.
Look at that.
Hey, Bombad. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to see you. I'm glad you could join us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So,
fantastic. Yeah. So what are you thinking of when you think about what's happening new with Star Wars? Like what's on the horizon? Well, I guess before I ask you that, are you a Celebration bound or not? I can't remember.
No, I'm not. It is my wife's 40th birthday. So I would be divorced if I went.
That wins. Yes.
Yeah. Totally get it.
So that's I guess understandable.
Totally understandable.
Well, that's cool. So
no, I wish there was, but no.
Yeah, well, you'll just
hopefully it's in Orlando next time. So everyone on the East Coast, it's a little bit easier, and not California prices for everything.
That's right. I've got my fingers crossed for that as well as somebody who's in Montgomery, Alabama. Orlando's driving distance. Florida's not. I mean, California is not.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's just a long drive.
I say you can drive most anywhere if you have the time. But
so back to my original question. What's the top of mind for you, Brian, right now in the Star Wars world?
Right now, I mean, I assume everyone's excited about Kenobi.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm excited for a Bad Batch. It was one of those things that, like you guys said, I didn't know that I wanted it until it was here.
Yeah. Yep.
Echo's my boy. That's why I was so quick. He's because he was like just reminds me of that PTSD'd out soldier that finally comes back, just can't give it up and has to keep going back and going back. And I have a friend of mine that was like that. So he kind of reminds me of that guy. So yeah.
And that's a really interesting point. If I can jump onto that for just a minute, we talk so much about Star Wars storytelling, and I had the privilege a couple of weeks ago. The first episode came out this last week. I think the second episode maybe comes out this next week, of being on with Brian from Pink Milk and a whole other group of Star Wars content creators doing a couple episodes about parenting and how our parenting is affected by Star Wars. And to listen to those stories, and I was really humbled to be, with those folks and to hear their stories. But there's so much in Star Wars that, we know this, but that connects with real world trauma that people have been through, whether it's PTSD, whether it is mental health related things. There's so much to it. And as and any of us who are all in a similar age bracket, as we go through life and as we experience the different things that life throws at us, that's another one of the great things about the way these stories are written, is that we encounter them differently in every season and stage of life. And that's really powerful. So to hear you say that, talking about Echo, talking about having a real world connection with somebody who's experienced PTSD, probably through the military, and some version of that, like, that's a real thing. And I love that those stories can be folded in. And so, like Pete, you've talked about with Jackson, watching Clone Wars and loving the clones and those different things, it hits him differently than it hits you, than differently than it would hit, my 14-year-old. So I love hearing that is really just what I'm saying. And it just, again, Star Wars is evergreen in the sense of we get different parts of Star Wars affect us differently at different seasons of life.
100. But I also wonder if that's why we were talking about just a couple minutes ago about how, like, they call it Rebels, but it's a story of Jedi and family. They call it whatever. And I wonder, because I talked about this with the last episode of Book of Boba Fett, where I watched it the first time by myself and was like, yeah, it wasn't what I expected it to be. I wanted it to be this. I wanted to see the Pikes. I wanted to whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then I watched it with my 9-year-old, and he was like, that was the greatest episode I've ever seen of anything, because it was, robots and monsters and fighting and Mandalorians. And so when you look at it from that perspective, I think that's what, it's like great animation, like comedy, like not Family Guy, but like Flintstones, right? I mean, I know that's really aging myself, but the jokes in there were written for the adults, but they were made for kids. And Star Wars it's got a story that adults can relate to. The three of us can watch it and get some, sort of personal thing out of it. But if you're 10 years old, you're like, cool robots, man. And that's fine. Right. And that's totally great that's what it is. If that sucks you in and inspires you to do something, that's amazing. So,
well, and there's certainly a synergy in that, because I think the more modern Star Wars stuff we have gotten has done even more of that than maybe some of the in-between Star Wars stuff. It's always there, and of course it's art, so it's subjective. So what I get out of it is not going to be what you get out of it. But I do think the synergy of it being ultimately a Disney property, because that's what Pixar became. You know, like you said, Flintstones is a perfect example. The jokes in Flintstones, like the things that I didn't get as a kid that I get now when I see an episode of the Flintstones, are completely different. But that's what Pixar was. The first 7 minutes of Up wrecks me every time.
Yeah, you can't watch
it. It just, like, I saw, the first Toy Story came out when I was, I think, a senior in college, and loved it from that moment. But it was different as a 21-year-old than I would have received it if I was 10 or 11. And so, it's another version of, I guess what I'm saying is that's what great storytelling is. Great storytelling covers the wide range of ages, life stages, whatever it is, and wherever you are. And I love that. And I love that you said that, Brian, with Bad Batch and with Echo, there's a direct connection for you.
And it's like, we also don't know, as far as we know, Echo's the only one that actually ever knew 99.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of it is like how, and like you just said, Nick, how your views change as you get older. Because how many movies now that when you saw as a kid, you look so much differently now that you're a parent.
Right.
Oh,
you know, like my classic with that is It's a Wonderful Life. When you're a kid, that is the most boring movie in the world. But when you get older and you have kids, you're getting choked up at the end of that scene when George Bailey's brother's coming in to toast the richest man in town.
And when he opens the book and he says, "No man is poor that has friends," or whatever it is, like, that's it. Like, I'm done.
And to me, the living proof that Star Wars is that way is when I first saw Phantom Menace, when Anakin leaves Shmi, I was like, okay, he's going.
Whatever.
And now I watch that, I'm like, no,
can't imagine.
It's dusty in this room. It's not me. It's
and that was such a neat. If I can throw it back to that Pink Milk Parenthood stream for just a minute, that was something that came up. Was, the unsung hero in that movie is Shmi Skywalker, and the absolute sacrifice that she made. She sent her kid with a stranger because she knew her kid was special. She didn't know why. She didn't know what it meant. She has the conversation with Qui-Gon where she says, there was no father. I carried him. I delivered him. He was here. Like, all she knows is this kid's a big deal, or he's special. And every parent thinks their kid is special, and that's accurate and appropriate. But she felt the biggest. And so she was willing to put her freedom, even, like, it wasn't like, okay, he got freed because he won a race. Well, what about me? She just went, they can help him. And I go back to it every time in The Last Jedi when Yoda says we are what they grow beyond. That's my, that's probably a future tattoo, but that's that mantra as a parent. And she was the embodiment of that. she wanted better for Anakin, and she was willing to let him go with this person she had just met the day before because there was a promise of a better life, a better future. And like you said, Pete, when you saw it in 99, you went, okay, whatever. And then you see it now and you have to like pause. What's wrong, Dad? Oh no, everything's fine. Everything's cool.
Fine. Cool. So Brian, what else do you got? You got anything
I mean,
in
the only other
particular?
thing is, I just wanted to also mention Bad. If it also wasn't for Bad Batch, I would never have met you guys, because I think you mentioned in one of the reviews in the review offers.
Yes,
I was on like a 14-year hiatus from any social media. I joined Twitter after my youngest was diagnosed with autism. And someone that I started following just because of that, who was also involved in Star Wars Twitter, joined one of your Twitter spaces on Bad Batch. And I was sitting outside of dance waiting for my oldest daughter. So I'm like, oh, let me click on this.
I know exactly which space you're talking about, Pete, and you do too. You were in the car and you did it randomly, and I was on my way to take my youngest to gymnastics.
Oh yeah,
and it was the one.
My
like,
daughter was in dance at the time.
Yes, we were all like parent mode, dad mode, and it was like spur of the moment. And Pete put it up. I joined, and after it was over with, like 2 days later, like we had so many people pop in, and I remember you popping in.
And it's been, black hole ever since.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry and also excited that you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I was going to say, just remember, we're kind of, because I did mention my daughter is autistic. Through Megan, who I was talking about, we are kind of going through a thing called One Autistic Galaxy. I think she's coming on Bombadcast next week.
Yes,
possibly. So it's just trying to raise awareness for neurodiversity in the fandom.
That's great.
Awesome.
That's
super
amazing.
Fantastic.
It's through all the crappiness that Twitter and social media and the weird part of Star Wars fandom has, it's stuff like this where these connections are made, where me and Nick and our buddy Scotty were just talking this morning about how we've never met each other in person, but we've become like brothers from another mother. Like there's this support group, and then people like you, Brian, who we talk to every day, and it's very strange, and it's very real. I think in the 2 years of the pandemic, a lot of people, whether they realized it or not, relied on these connections of people you don't know, you've never met, you've never actually gotten to know, because even your best friends who you might have grown up with, you couldn't see them, and you spent more time on Twitter or social media or Instagram or wherever with these people. And I'm just thankful for all the people who've hung out with us and really become part of my daily life. It's amazing. Brian, you're one of those people, so it's fantastic.
And I will be coming out to your house, as we are fellow Jersey boys.
Yes, we're both Jersey.
To pick up my poster after celebration.
Excellent. I will. Yes, we do need to. I'll have to have my phone, and I'll have to show you. Here's the choices for the poster. What was the one you were looking for specifically? There was one you mentioned, right?
Just the art one that they were.
Yes. Yeah. The sort of the main image that they're using. Holy cow! Yeah. Yes, I will. I will get you an
amazing image. My plan is I'll go out by you, and then I'll stop at Gasco's to use that as an excuse on the way home for my wife.
There you go. We'll meet somewhere for sure, man. That would be fantastic. Well, Brian, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for being a patron. Thanks for being a friend on Twitter, man. I really appreciate it, and your tweets definitely brighten my day all the time, man. So cheers.
No brown liquid for me. I gotta go to work in an hour.
That's all right.
Well, have a good day, man. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.
All right, bye, guys.
Brian.
Bye. I'm dead serious. Like, these are the things that make the hellscape that Twitter can be.
It's
worth it. It's
absolutely it.
It's so great. So good.
And not only that, Pete, if I can,
you can.
New friends.
Yes.
Like Jeff, like Brian, new patrons, new supporters, new folks that we're involved with and get to be a part of this connection. But this also allows us the opportunity to connect with old friends, people we love so much.
Yes.
People who mean the world to us, people that I may or may not have bullied just the tiniest bit to say, hey, please come hang out and talk to us. Because she's that great and she's worth it. We have one of my favorite people truly that I've met in the last 2 years, Raven.
Raven. Oh my God.
Hello,
It's so
everyone.
good to see you. I feel like I'm having like a flashback to something, another world. Raven, it's so awesome to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a busy week, been a busy couple of weeks, and there goes the cat. I've been busy with work. I work in safety and I have plants in Ukraine and Russia as well. Gosh. So things have been rough for us, but I'm happy to finally have made it to Friday night.
Oh my gosh, yes. And Indiana Jones wants his hat back. I'm just letting you know. You got it.
Not happening. Not happening.
Look at that one. Oh, the both of you. There you go. Raven, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been a lot less stressed than a lot of other people. I can tell you that much right now. Oh, look at that. That is the
like
Indiana
official
Jones
Indiana Jones.
I have to tell
I'm not that cool.
No, I have to tell this story very, very quickly. This hat is from 1989 when Last Crusade came out. Pepsi did a promotion where if you sent in like a certain number of UPC codes, you could get, and it's an actual Stetson fedora, Indiana Jones, whatever.
Wow.
My aunt, who introduced me to Indiana Jones and was the cool aunt that introduced me later to like beer and whiskey and, fun and, that kind of, she's like Raven. She spent an entire summer like buying Pepsi that she wasn't going to drink to get the UPC codes to get me this hat. And she got me one and she got one for herself. And so she sent it to me and I was so excited and it was this big deal. And then like a dumb, teenager at some point, I traded it to a kid in my neighborhood for baseball cards. And she's never let me live that down.
You really need those baseball cards though sometimes.
At the time I thought I did. So it was just gone. It was gone forever. And a couple years ago, when my twins were both simultaneously obsessed with Harrison Ford, one with Han Solo, one with Indiana Jones, she sent this hat to Lily, my oldest, or my other twin. She sent this to her and she was like, you can have this. Your dad ruined his chance with his, don't ever lose it. Don't whatever. And then as my, now 14-year-old teenage daughter has gotten over Indiana Jones, I was like, no, that's definitely mine. And I will protect it with my life. So I do have the other 1989 Pepsi Indiana Jones Last Crusade fedora.
Wow.
But I don't wear it nearly as well as you wear yours. So.
Oh, thank you.
So Raven, are you going to Celebration?
No. Yeah, no, man, I can't even go into half the chats on YouTube. So no, definitely won't be at Celebration. Like
I had to ask.
Hey, I've got my very own blacklist. It's wonderful.
It's
wonderful.
Nice. I mean, that takes a certain, a certain sort of person to have their own sort of blacklist like that. Which
I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah. So how's your Star Wars life been there? You've been watching the shows. You've been excited to check us. What's are you looking forward to Obi-Wan? I mean, who isn't?
Of course.
Oh yeah. I mean,
of course. Am I breathing? God, yes. I am really looking forward to Obi-Wan, but I've actually really had an opportunity to enjoy Star Wars in a whole new way over the past month or so. Rewatching things and also, seeing the new stuff that, as it goes and, Book of Boba Fett and everything. It's been a really interesting experience to watch it without the echo chamber, to not have Twitter. And so I'm not getting spoiled by anything. I'm not getting hints by anything. I'm not sitting and watching a show and loving it. And then a second later on Twitter, somebody is just trashing it. And I'm just like, wow, you really do want to pee in somebody's Wheaties, don't you? So I got to tell you, it's been really a new experience for me because I've actually rewatched things from a year ago that hit completely differently now because I'm just not hearing the constant, railing of, armchair pick your positions all day long. And it's really nice. I mean, I am a little slow to hear some things. Sometimes it takes me a minute to catch up on news, but at the very least, I do not wake up stressed out and it's wonderful. But it's really allowed me to really enjoy Star Wars in a way that I really haven't for the past, year or so, because it's just been so much, extra.
Yeah.
And
Star Wars
I just
became a
want to watch Star
grind.
Wars. Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
I really just want to like watch and like Star Wars, or not like it, depending on what it is.
Right, and be able to tell somebody and not worry about people like beating you up in the comments for not liking a particular. I always think, and
Right.
it's interesting because obviously you were doing Force Connect with me for a while there, and you were you kind of had to watch everything. And it's funny, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a podcaster that gets 12 viewers a show like we were, or if you're Molly and Alex and Star Wars Explained, you watch Star Wars differently. You absolutely do. And and I think about this with the podcast, I think about it with the any content, anything that I'm doing. My dad is who I learned to play bass guitar from, and he used to be in bar bands and stuff. And on his 50th birthday, which is now behind me, but on his 50th birthday, he was packing up after a gig and was like, you know what? This isn't fun anymore. And he just stopped. Like, he told his band partners, he's like, this was the last one for me. Next day he sold his gear. He was like, done. And he's like, I've enjoyed music completely differently from that point. Now, while he was doing it, it made his day. He loved doing it. It was so important and exciting. But yeah, sometimes it's probably valuable to walk away and just, that's why honestly, I think that's why I'm loving Moon Knight, because I don't know anything about it. I have no expectations. If it sucks, I don't care. If it's awesome, I don't care. I just want
If it sucks, I don't know, because I don't know anything about Moon Knight.
Yeah, exactly. I know nothing about it, but of course it speaks to me. I mean, I can look up like this, and I'm looking at the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. My house is filled with Egyptian stuff. So
Raven is nothing if not an Egyptian aficionado.
So I mean, I've met Dr. Zahi Hawass. Like, I'm that down for
That's right.
But
so not only do you have Egyptology, but you have Oscar Isaac. So I mean, tell me where we lose in this proposition.
Exactly. Like, I was like, this can't possibly go wrong. And so I was ready to watch it, but I walked into it completely blind. I have absolutely no earthly idea who this character is. I've never even really heard of him. I'm a DC girl, as everybody knows, so it's just the only time I usually cross the street to Marvel is to hang out with Wolverine. Growing up, it was like, I was okay with the X-Men, but I didn't care about Marvel. So I have no idea who this is. And so I was really excited to see it. But again, it's the idea of getting to watch it and not automatically hearing like people in the background talking about things that right now don't particularly matter. I'm trying to watch the show, experience the show, and it's not necessarily, people aren't allowed to not like it. It's just, can we not have a war about it though?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, can someone say they don't like it without you having to come in and tell them for 25 minutes why they're wrong? And then it becomes, it's like, it's okay for you to just be like, you know what? Not my thing.
I've started trying
or
to,
here's why it's not my thing.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I've started to really try to figure out, and this is where I usually get into my latest arguments on Twitter, is when I ask somebody, I'm like, so you were scrolling by and you saw that somebody said, like, everybody knows, whoever listens to me, that Rise of Skywalker is not my favorite Star Wars movie. It's like number 12 out of 11 for me. It's not, I don't love that movie. But it's a Star Wars, and honestly, I don't mind watching it. It's a fun movie, whatever. Anyway, when I see a lot of people who love The Rise of Skywalker, my first thought is, that's amazing. I'm so glad you love it. Second of all is, what do I get out of saying, wait, let me tell you why you're wrong? Because of this, and honestly, I have a list in my head of things I did not like about Rise of Skywalker. But what do I get out of that? That's like walking down the street and seeing somebody eating a chocolate ice cream cone and going, chocolate is bad, and I'm going to tell you why. There's no. I used to work with a woman. I used to love Cliff Bars for some reason. I don't know why, but there was a woman who used to work with me, and I'll never forget. She stopped by my cubicle one day, and she was like, you think those are good for you, but they're not. And here's why.
Exactly.
And that's what Twitter is. It's people walking by your desk saying, you think you like that, but you're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why.
And the analogy that I've used for the last however long is, it's like if you go to a restaurant and you don't like that restaurant, and instead of just not going to that restaurant again, you go back to it 3 and 4 times a week. And while you're there and paying for the food and eating it, You yell and scream at the top of your lungs why you don't like this restaurant. Who's making you go to this restaurant?
Right.
Who's making you watch this content that you clearly don't like? What are we doing?
Exactly.
That's
the thing that kills me is the stuff where people are like, I don't want to watch this show. It doesn't sound interesting to me. I don't like the cast. I don't like blah, 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 blah. But yet they're watching it. They're watching it every week, and they're only watching it to sit and complain about it. Now, don't get me wrong. They're entitled to complain. Everyone is.
Sure.
But if you're going to do that on Twitter, the cesspool of high school behavior,
the Sarlacc pit, as Corey
the
Ryan
Sarlacc pit,
said.
you are going to get people who are going to take that as an opportunity to start an argument. And I'm sorry, but there are just too many people out there who need drama. They need drama. People,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cut the cord. Drama
I've
is
never
bad.
seen any
It's
of
going
that.
to age you. Okay.
I will
Don't
say,
do drama.
I reached the phase a couple of years ago where I hit what I called the Danny Glover line in Lethal Weapon. Too old for this shit. Exactly. It's not it. I don't need to be mad about it.
And that's what I did, you know, when I decided to get rid of Twitter, which I had actually been thinking about for some time, but finally just decided to cut the cord. And, you know, I'm not going to say that there aren't times I miss it. I do miss it because, you know, there's fun tweets and people have
Scott with the win.
But it's you know, I miss fun tweets. I miss good jokes. I miss, you know, videos of cats and whatnot and who's it, what's it. But overall, I just have so much less stress because, you know, I agree with Pete. You can just scroll by. You don't have to respond because somebody said something you disagree with. You can just like keep going. But even that starts to get stressful after a while because you're like, I'm so tired of the constant nagging and whining and complaining. And, you know, can we just not? And if I told you my top 10 most overrated movies in history, everybody who watches movies would want to hang me from the nearest tree because I hate movies that other people think are masterpieces and couldn't possibly be wrong. That's just my taste.
I'm going to text you later because I just want to know that list for my own curiosity.
I'm not saying a word, but you know what I mean? I think disagreement is good. I think discussion and debate is good. You know, if you don't like The Rise of Skywalker, I'm going to tell you why I do like The Rise of Skywalker, but we're going to have an adult conversation about it and treat each other like human beings.
It's, you know, I mean,
it's so much vitriol. I just don't understand.
Well,
like, don't you guys have enough drama?
Yeah, I mean, I see Scott Scott Reifin in the chat. Scott, awesome to see you, man. You know, he and I literally blocked each other at one point, and then we got on. Then we had I had him on the show, and we talked, and we're like, that Venn diagram of things we like is so much better than the stuff that we don't like. And the difference too is, you know, Scott is a reasonable human being and he's not going to go off the I'm not a reasonable human being. I need to say, but the point is, it's what I liken it to is when you meet people, because I meet people all the time because I'm always wearing a Star Wars shirt of some sort. I think, in fact, I'm starting to think that those are the only shirts that I own are shirts that have either my podcast or Star Wars on it. But people, you know, it's the example I use for Around the Galaxy. It's like, I see a person who's got a Star Wars shirt, we start a conversation. And what's amazing is it's the same conversations that happen on Twitter. I will see people who are like, God, I hated the prequels. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's why? And then we have a conversation about it versus you hated the prequels. You're not a fan. You're not a real fan. That was George's last vision of Star Wars. Okay, cool. But people, when you're dealing with real people in Twitter, you're not dealing with real people in Facebook. You're not dealing with real people and wherever you are. And I have to say, and there's another guy who I've heard use this kind of commentary a lot. The best thing you can do is really curate your feed. It's so liberating to just like start to block and mute people. And on their first response, I did it to 2 people yesterday. I said something and they were like, but, and then the other one was like, yeah, she's right. And I was like, oh, you're both blocked because I just don't. But
you got to be careful with that though.
Oh, because then they tell me that I'm a
people.
Right.
Then they see that you blocked them. And like, I just a couple weeks ago went into a chat and got called out in the chat by somebody who's like, well, I used to think you were cool, but then you blocked me. And I'm like,
I would,
and I'm just like, dude, I'm just in the gas station with you.
I'm literally like, so yesterday, this is so inside baseball. It's like between the 4 of us and people we know, but Matt from Blue Bantha Milk texted me this morning because he's on Australian time. So I wake up and he's like, "Did you know that you're not allowed to not engage with somebody?" And I looked at it, and he showed me a screenshot of somebody I had blocked who was yelling at me still, even though I had blocked them. But
yeah,
it was
you
so
have to.
right. And they were like, "Oh, that's a great move. He blocks me." I'm like, hey, "Yeah, I did." So let's move on.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing of it is like, to be honest with you, like I'm gonna get real with you. I will block you if you have a shit take.
Yeah.
Fair.
Like, just because your take sucks, I will block you. Sometimes if I'm just in that kind of mood, I will block you for a take. You don't even have to be talking to me or commenting on something I said. You can just have a bad opinion that I just don't like, and I might block you. And it's just like, so if you're going to come at me for blocking you, fair. But do give me a chance to go back and figure out why, because it's entirely possible that I did it because I spilled coffee on the keyboard that morning. Like, I just don't take it seriously. Like, you know what I mean?
And that part of you that realizes it's not real life.
Exactly, because I'm old and I had to actually like deal with real people my entire life. Like, the internet didn't come around until, for me at least, until I was in my 30s. Like, I mean, to actually use on a daily basis like this. So it's just like, I've had way too much time with real people, and I know how easy it is to turn and walk away. And it's even easier if you just click, and it's done, So it's those kinds of things, and it's that kind of immaturity. It's just like, if you're questioning why I blocked you, let's talk about it. Don't come at me in public, and and seriously, don't come at me at all right now.
First of all,
because I'm still pretty peeved. So don't come at me at all. Yes.
And a word to the wise for anybody: don't mess with Raven.
Don't mess with Raven.
Yeah,
she'll mess you up.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
Oh man. Well, Raven, I am so excited and happy to see you. I got to reach out to you on text when you went off Twitter. It was an interesting time, so I kind of I knew you were busy dealing with that. So, but I would love let's catch up offline. I would love to catch up and just talk with you. And hey, if I'm ever in Minnesota, first of all, ask me why the hell am I in Minnesota?
Well, if you come in the summertime, we know why. It's beautiful here in the summer.
For like 2 weeks, right? You got like
it's a little bit longer than that, but thank you, JD.
But seriously, Raven, it is great to see you. We'll let you know offline when we do these on Friday nights, and you're welcome to come and join us anytime you like.
Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank
see you, Raven.
Love you.
Stay safe.
See ya. So great to see her. She's the best.
So
she
great
really.
to see Raven.
I can't. How many Friday nights did I have a great time just chatting with her and just laughing my ass off? She's so great. She's just so funny, and she's so real, which is what's awesome. We have, I think, one more guest.
We do.
And I see him coming in. His name is Connor. We know him. We love him. It's Connor. Connor, what's up? Are you in Batu right this second?
No, I'm at the Disney Pop Century Resort. I needed to find a quiet spot. Do I sound good?
You sound
great,
awesome.
Actually.
Okay, perfect.
Better than when you're on your show.
No, but I've been to Batu.
I saw some of your videos today, man. So cool. So happy to see you there, man.
Tell us about it.
Okay. I mean, basically, it's super wizard. Like you walk in and you see just a lot of rocky formations, and you see people like, dude, the like in the morning at least, because they changed outfits I saw, but like in the early morning, I came in at like 7:30. Like, dude, they have like indoor type ponchos on, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's so cool. I was freaking out. And then like I went on Rise of the Resistance, and like, dude, Rise of the Resistance, highly recommend. It's so dope. Like, okay, I won't say anything. I won't spoil it, but like, oh God, it's so cool. I got to meet up with a few Twitter folks today.
Oh, you did? Really That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you know they were going to be there, or?
Yeah, I ended up trying to coordinate with them. I think I'm meeting up with one other person tomorrow, and then I think I'm going elsewhere on Sunday and Monday. But yeah, Batu was just really cool. It's not as interactive because I think because of COVID and just other things. But they because usually there would be like the characters like Rey, Chewie, Kylo Ren,
Sure.
and there's one other character I'm thinking.
R2's around now, I think.
R2,
too, right? Yep.
and stormtroopers, but like I think just because of COVID and maybe other reasons they're not there anymore, or they are, but they're not like walking around the park. So there's definitely you can feel that, but you can feel like their absence pretty easily.
Yeah.
And pretty like you can. It's a pretty omnipresent feeling, but regardless, it's still really cool, and it's just such an indescribable feeling. There's like one super unforgettable moment in Rise of the Resistance that I will not spoil. That like it made me so giddy.
That's
It
right.
really did.
So let me ask you this. I know Pete's been to Galaxy's Edge in California.
Yep.
And I haven't been to either one, and that's fine. And you don't have to do anything spoiler wise. What was your number one favorite thing that you were able to do today? What was the top of the top?
Yes.
Being there.
Ooh, yeah. I really don't know. I think just being there, meeting with friends. Oh, went on the Falcon. That was cool.
How did you respond when you walked into where the Falcon is? Because to me, that was like, it's funny. I was like, I'm gonna be cool about this, but I didn't like drop to my knees and start crying, but I was like, holy cow, there's the Millennium Falcon is right there. How did you respond to that, man?
I think pretty similar. I was just I was like, wow, that's the Falcon right there. I was surprised I didn't cry at all today. I was very surprised at myself. I think I was just more in just shock at just like the production quality of everything.
Yeah.
And like I went around to some of the shops like Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Yep.
Like Lord Moment's helmet's in there. Like it's not a object I can purchase, but like it's there and you can see it and it's like holy crap.
Yeah.
I tried blue milk. I tried green milk. I think blue milk is just absolutely incredible. I don't know what it is with green milk for me, but like it's pretty solid, but it's nothing too special. So
fair, totally. Fair.
And yeah, I think tomorrow I'm building my own saber.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
So that's gonna be really cool. I've heard some things about it, but like I basically forgot everything. So I'm gonna basically be going in blind to the experience, and I'm super excited. Gonna probably have it shipped up back to my house because there's no way. Because like I have 2 carry-ons, and that counts as a carry-on, which is just so funny, and I love it. But that'll be interesting, and I think we're going to like 2 of the other parks the next 2 days, but like this is awesome. This has basically just been so unforgettable.
That's cool.
I'm trying to think
I love seeing, and I think Brian said this, following your Twitter today, seeing you post the video clips, and I did the same thing he did. I was at work throughout the course of the day and in between whatever it was that I was doing. Checking in, seeing your videos, following that thread, and being able to see all that you did was fantastic. So thank you for sharing that journey, certainly with somebody like me who hasn't been there yet, but like I loved seeing your excitement and like the picture you posted of you with the High Republic poster, and like again, like we talked about earlier, I think with Brian a few minutes ago about Scotty, like this is what Star Wars is. Star Wars is the joy of feeling like a kid again, whether you're a kid now, which you are because you're a young man and Pete and I are old, or
quarter of a century tomorrow.
Yeah,
whatever.
Happy birthday in advance.
Happy early birthday.
Thank
That's
you.
right.
Thank you.
But I loved seeing. First of all, I just laughed because I saw what Michael said. Green milk isn't good because we saw the sword.
Okay,
that's nasty.
That's a fair
but
point.
I loved following along with that with you on your Twitter feed today. So I'm glad you got to share that. And I'm super excited that you got to pop in with us for a few minutes tonight. So
For sure.
enjoy it tomorrow.
We'll be watching your Twitter feed for sure, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
definitely be watching
tomorrow will be like the continuation and the end. So
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, dude, thanks
Well,
for
I'm glad
stopping
you
in
could
with
pop
us,
in.
dude. Yes. So great to see you. Enjoy the rest of Disney. And
thank you.
May the force be with you, man. I'm looking forward for pictures.
May the force be with you guys too.
Awesome. See you, buddy.
Bud. Bye.
See ya.
That's awesome. See, we thought you had
one more,
but we there's a whole Alabama Georgia contingent going on here
That's right.
tonight, and we got to bring in the #1 talk show host in Southern Georgia, Scott Rifen. Right? Did I get that right? Oh, you're muted or something.
And he's muted.
He's muted. It's always the radio guys, the guys who know what they're doing. Oh no, we can't hear him. But while he's working on that, we can admire his amazing setup that he's building.
I was gonna say, I know he's still muted, and that's okay. We're still trying.
We're still waiting.
How about that? How about that?
There it is. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. I don't know what that was. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah,
I'm ready to go too. Look at
that. Okay, he's gonna.
Right. My blaster.
Yeah.
I've
Scott,
been.
man, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. It's Friday. I got my Jabba the Hutt, my Star Wars in concert shirt, so I'm ready to go.
Nice.
You know, Pete, you were talking earlier about how I think you said almost all of your shirts. I literally think my shirts are like 75% Star Wars, 20% Kiss, and 5% unknown.
Yeah.
That's. I think that's the way mine go too. So, and
I actually have
stopped wearing real shirts.
Closet. I have two.
You have two what?
Closet, Star Wars and the other ones. And Star Wars last count I think was 19 or 20, and the other ones were like 10. And it's like an Auburn shirt, a local bar shirt, or whatever. Like Star Wars is winning the battle.
See, I dropped all the X's off of all my shirts over the last couple of years. So my wife, like at one point, my wife was going, "Don't buy any more T-shirts. That's ridiculous. You can't do that." But then, like when you lose weight, she's out there trying to get you to buy T-shirts,
right?
So I've converted my entire wardrobe. I have like almost no grown-up shirts anymore. It's all T-shirts. So, but
totally fair.
You know, she lets me. So, and the cool thing though is like you can get a bunch of really cool Star Wars shirts at our Goodwill now because all my old shirts are there.
Your old shirt.
Yeah. It's like if
a Rifen collection.
Yes, absolutely. I think put the little tags in them, you know, and everything, just so you know. And I think literally if you go to Goodwill and you close your eyes and you just reach out and grab a piece of clothing, you have a 1 in 3 chance of it being mine. So that's kind of cool.
That is awesome. So Scott, first of all, I need to comment on, I know I've been watching on Twitter as you build behind you there. It's because when you were on my show, it was like a big empty room. It was, it was not, and now it is becoming, it's beautiful to see all the books. And I'm sure it's far from all of them based on what you said that your number was, but what is that? Is that a Punisher helmet in the middle below Anakin's helmet? I'm trying to figure that.
No, that's a Death Trooper helmet.
What's the rainbowy thing and not rainbow shape kind of thing?
You know what that is? Oh, well, let me tell you, you guys were talking about crying and not being able to make sure there was dust in the room and all that other stuff. This, and by the way, behind it, 2 holocrons.
Very nice.
I got no place else to put it. No, that's the Death Trooper helmet.
Yes,
that came with the car.
Okay, I almost bought one of those on eBay, and then the person freaked out on me. I was about to get one of those.
Well, when I die, I'll leave this one to you. Okay. And you never know. I mean, it could be any day now if I say the wrong thing on the air. So, but no, this. Let me see if I can work the camera right because I'm a radio guy. See that?
Look at that.
In 2007, before they even built the little theater for it, they had a temporary stage setup. They were just starting this.
Is that Garrison?
Oh, it's the G-Man. 2007, we're at Hollywood Studios, and the cast member comes up and he sees we're all wearing Star Wars shirts, which was not as common then as it is.
Sure.
Now.
Yep.
And the guy's like, "Hey, you guys like Star Wars, huh?" And he's like, "Hey, we're doing a thing over there, and let me tell you how you can get the kids called up to say." Now they just sign up and you're guaranteed, but back then they picked kids out of the audience. So he gave us kind of a little skinny on how to get picked. So G-Man got to go on stage and have a lightsaber fight with Darth Vader. And you want to talk about just like, I'm trying to get it to focus. Hang on. 1 second, please. Vader, could you hold for a second, please? But yeah, when you watch it, you grew up and you were that age.
Yeah.
And you saw the Star Destroyer go overhead and Vader comes walking out of that cloud after the big battle at the beginning. You know, it's just, and then you see your kid wanted to do this and he gets on stage and he's taking it to Vader because that's what he's supposed to do. And it just, oh my goodness, it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So that's one of my favorite moments. So it's like the wall of helmets and G-Man fighting Vader.
That's awesome.
I love that. And it adds a layer for me personally, because you and I have interacted on Twitter, but I haven't had the chance to talk to you on a stream. But of course,
that's
being
true.
on the Deucecast Extra and doing lots of stuff with Michael and Garrison through all of that, like I have the connection already. So it makes me so happy to see this now grown person in the little form right there.
He's filled out a little since then. But yeah, you don't. By the way, I got the Boba Fett repaint. No, it was not the Dancing Vader nip. You know how there are just certain things that will trigger me, and the Dancing Vader is a thing that will trigger me.
Agree.
Hyperspace hoopla is just whoever designed. And look, I have nothing bad to say about any human being ever, except I think whoever came up with the concept for hyperspace hoopla should burn in hell. But I mean that like in a really nice way. No, I got the Boba Fett repaint helmet. By the way, annual pass holder 20% off. 20% off.
Ooh.
Oh,
so
really?
yeah. So I got that last month at Galaxy's Edge, actually, or not Galaxy's Edge, Tatooine Traders.
Well,
down there.
that's good news for Pete, because Pete has every Boba Fett helmet ever. And Pete, do you have the repaint?
I do not have the repaint. I do not
as
have
well
the
as the ESB, as well as the prototype, as well as the other one. That's all the same.
I have the prototype here. I have the ESB here. I have the whatever, but I haven't gotten the repaint because I'm like, I have it, but part of me is like, it's like you with the book, Scott. It's like completionist, right? I'm like, it's out. I kind of have to buy it. The worst April Fool's joke that I did see today was somebody said that there was going to be a Black Series helmet Scout Trooper, and for a moment I was like, yes, and then.
No. Cut me the deepest.
That's not even funny.
No, it's not at all.
That's crap. Let me,
I have Black Series Vader, Black Series Stormtrooper. There's literally only one other helmet that is a 100% guarantee that I want to buy, and it's Scout Trooper. Like everything else, I don't care. That's the one I want.
G-Man loves Scout Troopers, and he has always loved them since he was a little kid. And the first time we went to Celebration together, and he saved up his money, and we went there. And at the top of one of these kiosks, on the dealer floor, at the very top, they had a whole line of these Rubies Biker Scout helmets. Yeah. And he kept saying, "I think I'm going to get." They were like $75, and that's like all he had. And he's like, "I'm going to get that." And I said, "No, don't get that. Please don't get that. They're Rubies. Just trust me on this. Please do not get that helmet." And he's like, "No, I'm going to." I said, "Look, I'm not going to stop you. Because you saved, it's your money. You have the power to make your own decisions, whether they're mistakes or not. Do it." And but I said, my advice to you: don't do it. So he gets the helmet, and like the general thrust of the helmet is good, except it's flat almost.
Yeah.
And when you try to put it on, there's this lip on the top that will slice your forehead wide open, and it's just it is. I don't know. I think they were using those at Gitmo when they were still allowed to torture people. They would put that mask on them. So it was horrible. And he was so disappointed. I'm like, yeah, it was 75. And you don't want to go, "I told you so," but you also want him to get kind of a life lesson.
Yes.
So you just kind of sit back and go, "I'm sorry, son." And then he learns it from there. But yeah, that was a bad one.
This is the tiny blaster that Michael's talking about.
Oh, the Biker Scout blaster. Yeah. Now what is that?
This is the Nerf one, and I haven't painted all it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it looks great.
I've painted half of it, but not the other half.
That's cool. It's like that Star Trek episode. Let that be my last battlefield or something. Yeah,
exactly.
Frank Gorshin's blaster. That's and he hates half of it, by the way. I don't know if you know that or not.
Only half. That's it.
Only half of it. And the helmet, by the way, the Luke X-Wing helmet. Let me tell you that Galaxy's Edge. They sell them just like at a cart. The helmets, and they look about like the Black Series. I've got the Black Series. The Poe Dameron down there is a Black Series. You can't see it. But the beautiful thing, my favorite thing about Last Jedi, I'm going to go at Pete on this. My favorite thing about Last Jedi is right afterwards, I was able to get a lot of Star Wars stuff really cheap. So,
well, you know, and I told Nick that I wasn't going to say this on the air, but I'm going to do it. We were talking about Funko Pops, right? Because we're looking for I'm, as you probably know, I'm an idiot and I buy every single one. But we were talking about how interestingly everybody loves Fennec Shan, but there's no problem finding Fennec Shan Pops. It's difficult to find some of the other ones from the series, but it's interesting. There's certain there's certain eras, and I think Book of Boba Fett generally did not sell as well, much like Last Jedi, right? A lot of the Last Jedi stuff just didn't sell. I mean, there was so
I think their audience has become more selective.
More selective. Is that what we call it? We'll call it more selective for sure. Yes. But awesome. So when are you going to Celebration this year?
No. We do an every other summer trip to Disney World.
Okay.
And we've got our DVC thing going, and we kind of have already paid for everything on that trip, and it's kind of, I mean, and the other thing is the whole May thing doesn't really square with me because it's the ratings start in March and end in late June.
Yeah.
That's the Disney trip's always July, which is a great time to go down there. But we have to because not at all. It's just actually I have to take a really thick jacket down there for that. But no pants, but a really thick jacket. So,
pants are optional.
Yeah, I mean, who needs pants anyway? But yeah, so Celebration's just not. If it were in Orlando, I'd sneak down there for a day or two. But I hate taking time off during the ratings. Before I worked for iHeart, before iHeart bought me and owned me, the company that previously owned me would not let us take time off during the ratings. iHeart will actually let us. I just don't like to, because every single day during the ratings you can make a difference.
Sure.
And so and I've seen the streaming numbers when I'm not there, and so I can only assume that that's the case with the on-air ratings as well. So I just don't want to take time off during the ratings and go out to California. And
I mean, for
I've
me,
never been to California, so when the day comes, I'm going to want to stay out there for a little while and do other things too. So
yeah, that's. I mean, I actually am taking my child out of school for 3 days so that he can do this. And
wow,
yeah, it's
you're that dad.
Part of me feels like I'm either the best dad in the world or the worst. But
no, you actually are a good dad, and I'll throw this in there. When Paul Sun-Young Lee, Carson Teva from Mandalorian, was on with us back during Podathon, that was one of the things he talked about was his parents taking him out of school to go and watch Star Wars, and then him doing that with his kids later on, having those moments. Like,
I'm going to take that clip and I'm going to send it to Jack's teacher and say, look, Paul Sun-Young Lee did it. So
a Star Wars guy said it. It's, Kim's Convenience said it was okay. Why can't I do it?
And because Chris Ryans and I were having a nice chat on Twitter, which is weird. But Chris Ryan from Bro Axiom, I think you've had him on the show.
Yes. Oh yeah,
and Chris, good friends. Yeah, we were going back and forth about the storybooks, and then he mentioned having his mom getting him out of the his mom getting him out of school to go to the first showings of Jedi and everything, and that was not me. Because I can tell you, I mean, there are certain things that are just indexed in my brain, and one of them is, or John Kerry would say, seared in my mind. And one of them is the first show was Wednesday, May 25th at 1 p.m. And I'm begging Mom, you got to get me out of school. And to me, it was a given. Like when I knew it was a thing, I said, okay, it's 1 p.m. You're going to get me out of school. You're going to take me over there in the first show. And Mom's like, I ain't taking you out for no movie. Really? It just didn't even compute. So there was a 4:00 show. And so I have to stand outside because, I had the neighbors pick me up right after school, and we rushed right over there. And I'm sitting outside watching the other cool kids who got out of school getting to come out and having seen everything. And I hate those kids. I'm just loathing those kids as I go in there. But, Chris was one of those kids who got to go early. I didn't get to go early.
That's awesome.
I had to see the second show.
Well, hey,
come on.
Yeah. But I was listening to you guys. I was putting up action figure display case number 6
Yes, which looks awesome.
So-
It's got the Kenner back style,
That's
which
right.
looks
Yeah,
so
posted
good.
it on Twitter earlier. I saw
Yeah.
it. It looks good.
I just finished it. Well, before I came on with you guys, I finished number 6. So now I'm running out of figures. Now I got to go get the ones
Go
that
buy
I
some
didn't
more
have.
figures. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. But I want to get all the original Kenner. So was it 96? I got to get all those
Power
guys.
of the Force ones.
All the way through the Power of the Force. Yeah, the first Power of the Force. Because and my buddy was like, you don't want to go after the Power of the Force. It's too big of a challenge. Don't do it. But the problem is, like back in the day, I mailed away and got Anakin.
Mhm.
So I've got the Anakin figure, and he can't sit by himself, can he?
That's right.
So
It opens up a whole new thing.
Yeah. So I've got to get 3 more of these cases, but I got case number 6 is up there, and it's beautiful. I'll post all 6 in a little bit.
They look so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Well, Scott, thanks for hanging out with us, my friend. Anytime you
Absolutely.
want to join us, you are more than welcome. And hey, I got to have you back on the show sometime soon, man.
Absolutely. Love you guys. Appreciate everything. And thanks for having me on, man.
Awesome. We'll see you soon.
Good to see you.
See you guys.
See ya. Bye. All right. This time, I mean, we have one more, and I can't.
It keeps going.
I know, but this is the way it works
We
here.
We can't overlook this guy.
This is, in fact, I wish I still had some of the drops that we had from Force Connect, because
exactly
this one is
best drop of all time.
But our last guest of the night, our very good friend of, I'm gonna stop with the intros. I'm just gonna bring him in.
Yeah.
Here he is, Jerry the Cannon.
Whoa! What's
Gerald,
this?
what's
This
up,
guy's
brother?
here. I know. I missed that. Like that one. That was a great thing to come out of that. Like that. Jerry has arrived. Yeah, I do enjoy that. That and the say something about the prequels.
Yeah,
the Mother
prequels, yeah.
Soldiers prequels, bitch. Was also fantastic. So
Yeah.
hey guys,
How
how's it
are you,
going?
Jerry?
What's up,
I'm
brother?
pretty. Man, hey, look, I'm just hopping from show to show tonight. I was just on with Nerd Herder.
How's Boop
talking about
and friends?
Oh, Boop and Friends, fantastic. We were all doing fantastic, talking about our love for the special editions. And so, yes, I know that's going to get lots of crickets.
It's going to be
here,
a problem
but
for you and Scotty.
Oh, it is a big problem. Like, no, and I mentioned that, yeah, too. Like, but yeah, me and Matt from Blue Bantha Milk were actually hanging out with the Nerd Herder crew. So, yeah, go check that replay out. Anyway, that's enough of the plugs. But that's what I've been doing, and I just decided I want to go see what my friends Nick and Peter up to.
Well, I have to say, I was
Star Wars.
I was watching my favorite Thursday night thing, which is Bombad Cast. Last night, you guys came back from watching Morbius, not Morpheus. Maybe Morpheus would have been
I would
better.
have rather watched Morpheus, honestly. No.
And it's so funny. When you guys started getting the spoilers, I jumped off, and then I was like, I'm not going to see this movie.
Yeah,
because
you're not going to go
everybody
see it.
hates
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
But I wish somebody told me how bad Eternals was before I wasted money on that.
Okay, hold on. You just send me out right now. Wait, I can send myself out. Okay. No.
But
gracious.
But so yeah, so what we were talking before you got before you came on very early in the show, like we were asking people, when we think of Star Wars on the horizon, what's the thing that you're most excited about? I know you're going to Celebration. I can't wait to see you there, buddy. It's going to be insane.
I can't wait to just in case Disney and or Reed Pop is listening. We're not going to hug in the actual convention, but I'm going to bear hug this man.
I think there's going to be a whole hugging circle outside.
There's going to be like a hug orgy.
Right, people are going to take off their masks and hug each other.
Like the cops are going to come and be like, "Hey, break it up! What's going on?" You're like, "Oh, they're just hugging each other." Like, what's going on?
But simultaneously, there's going to be like a human circle,
a massive
blocking
hug.
Everybody from seeing the hug orgy that's going on inside. Like if you had private butlers blocking whatever's going on in the middle of the circle.
I got to remember to let mine know his flight has been bought, so he can be
update
there.
your butler's flight. So here's what we're going to do,
his
Jerry.
schedule.
This is the question for you.
Okay, all right.
If we take Celebration off the table, and if we take Kenobi off the table,
damn you!
What are you excited about in Star Wars coming up? Because I know you have opinions and thoughts and things about those too. Those are the easy two. Beyond that, what's coming up in Star Wars that you are excited about? Books, Andor, Bad Batch. I mean, where are you?
Oh man, with Kenobi off the table, that's a hard one. And it's like the things that have been announced, correct? Like I can't like make up something that I want to be in.
Correct.
I mean, you could, but that would be weird.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, it's me, you know. So, I'm like it's that very Han Solo answer. Hey, it's me. But oh man, of the things that we've got coming out. Ooh, okay.
Is it this?
No. It's not actually that.
Is that Brotherhood?
I am. Yeah. That is a good one. I need to get back.
I think Brotherhood's going to be the first proper Star Wars novel I've read in however many years.
Yeah, and Chen's such an awesome dude, so I'm so excited for him to actually get the book. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry we cut you off.
Andy's here. It's okay. Hey, whoa, what's up, Andy? Good to see you, sir. Yes. No. Like, didn't they say there's going to be something important in that book too? Like the wedding. It starts with the wedding, doesn't it, or something?
No,
never mind. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Queen's Hope.
Queen's Hope. Yeah.
Or the latest Queen Amidala novel, which I need to get on those. Those are good. I think my most anticipated, the one I'm looking forward to the most, I think it's going to be Acolyte. Acolyte. Okay. Acolyte sounds like a decongestant or something.
There was a character in
Ask your doctor if Acolyte is right for you.
Works in 15 minutes or less. Yeah. But no, anyway, like the Acolyte, I'm very excited about because, you know, I mean, we've got fantastic people, you know, writing and directing that. You know, they're saying it's going to be female led, but also it's kind of been billed. And I don't know if it's still going to be this, but it's been billed as like the crown on top of the High Republic era, which I know, like, you know, I keep singing the praises of the High Republic era and stuff like that. And it's a little daunting at this point. Now there's a lot of stuff in there, but I don't think you're going to have to read all that stuff to watch this. I think you might feel rewarded or something. You'll be like, oh, there's that kind of a thing. This is, you know, this has all been leading towards this kind of thing. But I'm excited for that. Like, what is it like? How many years before Phantom Menace did they say? We know.
I want to say it's forgot, like is it like 100 years before or something like that? 50 years? It's. I
think it's 50.
Yeah, 50. It's close, but not that close, right? Yeah.
I just feel like we're gonna get, you know, like right there. I think Scotty Jero is gonna absolutely love this thing. I think it's gonna be like a lot of like flavor. We could get a young Palpatine.
Yeah,
you know,
200 years before Phantom Menace.
Is it?
Well, that's the High Republic.
That's
but
High
like
Republic.
The actual.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm at Google Inverse. In a recent interview with The Wrap, Leslie Headland established the timeline for the Acolyte, revealing the show will happen during the final days of the High Republic era, a period roughly 200 years before the events of the film Episode 1 of Phantom Menace.
Oh, never mind.
Well, we could still have a young Palpatine. Who knows how old that bastard is?
It's still yeah. That's the thing. Like that's something I've always thought about too. Like that's what I always kind of thought of him back in the day. Is he's much older than he appears to be.
Right.
And he already looks really old. Like especially by the no offense to Ian McDermott. Like God love you, so you're fantastic.
Who are we kidding?
You look great. You look great. But just like it seems like it might be like focusing on what the Sith are kind of doing in this era. Honestly, to me, that's what it feels like it's going to be. It's going to be, here's what the Sith are doing during the High Republic. And I'm excited to get that perspective on what they think about like the Jedi of that era and stuff like that. Then like that is, it's going to be a good show. Like I'm very excited for that because I have not been disappointed yet with anything that's come out. And again, all we've had is books and comics from High Republic so far, but it is going to stretch farther as they go. So that's what I'm excited for.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, so we have Celebration coming. We have Kenobi coming. Tell us about what's going on with Bombad Cast. What do you guys have coming up over the next couple of weeks?
Well, I'm trying to think. Like we've got, you know how we plan Bombad Cast? Like sometimes we'll get together. We'll plan like a few weeks out.
Right.
And then sometimes there's like a period, and we're in one of those periods right now where we're just like, you want to talk about this week? Like, yeah, sure.
Sure, let's do it.
But I'm trying to think here. We don't really have anything coming up too noteworthy. I believe we are going to have. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember the person's name here. I'm gonna have to look them up here. We're having a guest on next week for. Let me make sure I get this right here. Okay, we're talking about our autistic galaxy movement.
Yep,
with
Brian
Megan
was
Rickards.
on earlier tonight before you got on
Yes.
here, and he was talking about that. Yes, yep.
Yes. Sorry, I just want to make sure I got all the names and stuff right there because like I was not prepared to come on the show.
No, hey,
so
we didn't
that's
send
all
you
I'm saying.
notes. You're fine, but
It's all right.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, so that's going to be this Thursday. So come check that out. We Bombadcast, we have a lot of fun, but we talk about some serious stuff sometimes. We talk about really deep stuff, and me and Scotty like to, we like to talk to people from all walks of life and get kind of different perspectives on things. So that's going to be a great episode.
One of the things Nick and I talk a lot about as we plan ATG Cast stuff is there's a million, there's literally thousands of Star Wars podcasts. And there's a handful that I don't miss because they do it right or they do it differently. Not that others don't. And there's no way for me to say that without offending some of my good friends. But Bombad is so much fun because you really do. One week it's going back and looking at old interviews during the Phantom Menace. The next week you're doing a very serious conversation about myth and storytelling. And then the next week it's and it's so much, it's always fun. So if you're an ATG Cast fan, you got to check them out on Thursdays. Scotty and Jerry here are just a lot of fun. But
thank you,
Gerald. Thanks for hanging out with us, brother. And
thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Hey, thanks, guys. See you later.
Man. See ya. Bye.
See you, buddy.
All right. Well, hey, Nick, we've gone on longer than we have ever gone on in our entire career here as
absolutely
Star Wars. But this has to be one of the most fun nights I've had in a while. And I think part of it is just like, man, there's just so much going on. Honestly, like you take the Star Wars world and then you look at the real world and you're like, you know what? This was a lot of fun. And to me, what I loved was every single person who we shared the screen with is somebody who we've either met for the first time or have had a great conversation with virtually or have had on before and just love talking to. So this was too much fun, man. Before we go though, you and I have a little bet that we need to settle. Or not settle, prepare.
Not settle.
Yeah.
Prepare. That's right.
Why don't you set it up, Nick?
We're laying the groundwork. We had talked about this, and I don't remember at what point. Excuse me. I don't remember at what point we talked about this, but I had a whiskey bet, as a bottle bet, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
With our good friend Bill from Skywalking Through the League.
Yeah.
During the basketball season, because my Auburn Tigers played his Kentucky Wildcats, and we had a little friendly bottle bet. Winner gets a bottle, loser gets to pick, that kind of thing. So with Kenobi coming up, you and I had texted. We've texted several times.
Yeah.
Let's do, something similar to that. And we decided to base it around, and this is where you'll have to help me. I don't know if it's necessary. It's the first words Kenobi says, not necessarily the first words in the series.
Right.
The first words that Obi-Wan says.
Correct.
So we decided to put out on air in front of the public and everybody what our bottle bet is going to be. So for me, and I'll give the justification for why I say this, I think Obi-Wan's first lines in the Kenobi series are going to be, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Because those are his literal actual first lines in The Phantom Menace. When they're on the, what's it called? Not droid, Trade Federation ship, when they go to do the negotiations, whatever, they cut to that shot of Liam Neeson and Obi-Wan or Ewan McGregor. I have a bad feeling about this. Calm down, my young Padawan, whatever it is that Qui-Gon says. So I feel like they're going to have that callback synergy to that.
Yes. Right. I believe that it's going to be a callback synergy to another famous Kenobi line, which is "Hello there." And I believe that Kenobi's first line in the Kenobi series will be "Hello there." And so we will see who is right now. We will both be wrong. It's going to be something.
I would say neither one of us are going to be right because I've
Right.
never been right in any Star Wars prediction I've literally ever made.
Right. If you watch any streaming Star Wars, you know that when we get to the prediction section of the show, whatever we say, oh, Scott's with me. Thank you, Scott.
Scott's with you, and that's fine, and I appreciate that. But my justification is that feels too easy. So I'm going with just a sub.
I have a bad feeling that this is not easy. I mean, come on, that's
it's a sub level below. Yeah, and you're right. First line in episode 4.
Right.
But I feel like it's a sub level below. Like we don't want to go the most obvious. We'll go the next obvious. That's where I'm landing.
Now, so what happens if we're wrong? Do we like wait and see when they say it first? Because I think both lines are going to happen at some point.
So that'll be our backup.
All right, this is the backup.
First, if it's not the first line for either one of us, first one to it is the backup.
Okay, that sounds fair to me.
Totally down.
I think
and the way, in my opinion, a bottle bet works is if I lose, I get to pick whatever I send to you, and vice versa.
All right, that sounds fair.
Loser's choice is the way the bottle bet works.
That totally works for me, man. So, well, man, this was way too much fun for a Friday night. I almost said a Saturday night. We did go long, but not that long. So oh look, my
that's right, just long enough.
Say hello, Jack. We'll work for V-Bucks.
Hey,
that's what he's been doing for the last couple hours. But so well, Nick, thank you so much, man. We will do this again soon. And hey, may the force be with you
always.